Good evening, Karina Carvalho with ABC News. The state government will scrap controversial anti-bikie laws but replace them with a broader suite of measures to tackle organised crime. A review of the Newman government policy found aspects were unnecessary, unreasonable and disproportionate. But the government argues its new plan will go even further, keeping the pressure on criminal gangs. Here's state political reporter George Roberts.
4 months overdue, but more than 400 pages of legal consideration.
These new laws will be tough, workable and enforceable.
Of the 60 recommendations, the government's already committed to some.
For those outlaw motorcycle gangs and criminals out there who think that the doors are going to be reopened, not only are they closed, but we're wedging them shut.
The Premier says the Newman government's laws were too narrow, so the government will scrap the vicious lawless associate or VLAD laws, which added 15 years jail to offences committed by gang members and 25 years for senior bikies. They'll be replaced with control orders, like those used on sex offenders and terrorists and applied to all organised criminals. Mandatory sentencing requirements will also be brought in, but they're yet to be decided.
There will be no let-up from police or prosecutors. We will be giving them more resources. I want more convictions, not less.
To that end, there's $37 million in extra funding, and the government will keep the ban on bikies wearing their colours in pubs and licensed venues.
We do not want to see bikies riding en masse in their colours on our streets.
Current bans on bikies gathering in groups of 3 or more would change to reflect the New South Wales model, where convicted organised criminals would not be allowed to associate with each other.
We need to see the details, and our concern in a nutshell is that any watering down is completely unacceptable.
Claims that we are simply repealing existing legislation is completely false.
The government calls it strengthening and expanding. The opposition calls it weakening.
And George Roberts joins me live from Parliament House. George, what has been the reaction to the Premier's announcement?
Well, Karina, it's no secret that bikie gangs were vehemently opposed to the Newman government's laws and actively campaigned against them. But rather than welcoming the scrapping of those laws today, they're instead seeing them replaced with measures targeted at all manner of organised crimes. That's left bikie gang representatives angry and disappointed with what the Labor government plans to do.
I feel we helped the Labor get across the line in the election. They know we helped them, you know. People didn't want these laws. The general public didn't want these laws. We had thousands of people show up at rallies. We had the general public donate almost $600,000 for the High Court challenge. That's how much they didn't want these laws. It got Campbell Newman booted out and Labor's just done a big turnaround.
But none of this will happen quickly, Karina, and the government says it's determined not to rush any changes through. They still have to consider all 60 recommendations in the report and draft legislation that will require the support of the crossbenchers to get through the state's hung parliament.
Some way to go yet. George Roberts at Parliament House there.